groups in Africa. Please welcome her.
Hopefully. Okay, yes, it's working. Okay. So, hi everyone. My name is Unaweza. I'm from Sudan. Yes, I've come from there, the conflict area. Okay. Can you hear me now? Is it clear?
Can I hold this for you?
Okay, I can take it. Okay. We have been resisting in the past couple of years in all forms, but I will be talking today about one form, which is our resistance committees. Okay. We have fought for several years, as you all know, and we have this famous logo. It says freedom, peace, and justice. But to be able to do that, we have to resist. The Sudanese Resistance Committee is an unorganized body with an unelected leadership council and branches in many towns and across the country. Oh, I don't know. Yes, I don't know. Maybe it's not working. Yes. So, yeah, do that. Okay. Sorry. So, it has social media pages with 2,500 likes, while individuals towns have their own pages. These groups is one of the signatories of Declaration of Freedom and Change, which expresses the vision of the civil society groups and oppositions of political parties of the country. Okay. The committees began to work on unorganized ground in 2017 with a graffiti campaign. It distributed tens of thousands of pamphlets that reflect issues faced by the committees, such as water access and government land seizures. At the time, graffiti was dangerous. The area would be watched, and for 3 days after the graffiti is finished, we would bury the canister, says one of the resistance committees. Next slide. By December 2018, there were over 300 active resistance groups in Khartoum, the capital of Sudan. But as the protest began, dormant groups began to raise and connected with larger established committees. On the 18th of December 2018, a series of demonstrations broke out in several Sudanese cities due in part of raising cost of living and deterioration of the economic condition at all levels of society. The protest quickly turned from demanding from urgent economic reforms into demand of the President Omar al-Bashir to step down. The Sudan 2018 revolution was a remarkable example of nonviolent action in work. Activists were organized and disciplined despite the challenging circumstances resulting in the President Omar al-Bashir resignation. The 2018 revolution was the third of the Sudanese in the Sudan modern history. They all have followed with patterns of ousting a dictator and followed by a transitional period. The Sudanese Resistance Committee signed the January 2019 Declaration of Freedom Charter, which called the President Omar al-Bashir to be removed from the power. In February as well, when the Sudanese Professional Association began calling for the neighborhood-based marches, groups began to mobilize inside the neighborhood and inform the committee with other neighborhoods as well. During the protest, the resistance committee loosely coordinated with the Sudanese Professional Association via online social media network services while retaining their autonomy. This is a picture from Adbara train, which arrived to Khartoum in support of the December 2018 revolution, coordinated by the Adbara Resistance Committee. A political analyst said that, or described the Resistance Committee as one of the main players in the political dynamics of Sudan after the revolution. I will show you a video of how was our revolution. This is happy protesters cheering and chanting, and they were saying, "Good morning, good morning." And this is how we were treated. Sorry for the video might be a little bit disturbing. You can play the next video. The Sudanese Resistance Committees has called for marches to demand the handover of the power for the civilians. And then you can play the next video while I'm talking. We had the Million March. It's a mass demonstration. They were
Less than
okay, you can just play
it. Of Khartoum and in cities all over the country. Less than a month after the massacre, tens of thousands of Sudanese were back on the streets of Khartoum and in cities all over the country.
So this was the Million March. Demonstrators, it was the first since the security forces on June 3rd killed more than 100 people during the bloody dispersal of the sit-in of the protesters outside the military headquarters, the focal point of the protesters struggling for democracy. 2 years after that, this happened again. You can play the video.
And we begin with some breaking news coming in from Northeast Africa with reports of a military coup underway in Sudan. International flights to the capital Khartoum have been suspended while the internet has been cut.
The October 21 military coup. The Resistance Committee were active in organizing protests, including the November nationwide protest in which security forces shot the protesters dead.
And we begin with some breaking.
Next slide, please. The Transitional Military Council argued that actions were against the law and norms and constituted a full crime against the citizens of violating their freedom and preventing them from practicing their normal life. Again, we woke up on something different this time. Next slide, please. You can play the video. On April 2013, in April 2023, a conflict took place between the Rapid Support Forces and Sudan Armed Forces. The resistance committees organized logistic support for medical services, as well the resistance committees coordinated the creation of doctor, nurses, and engineers committees, helped to provide fuel, electric supplies, and take doctors to hospitals in the conflict, and helped in evacuating civilians from areas of RSF and SAF fightings. The resistance committee members were actively and politically encouraged local communities to avoid siding with either the RSF or SAF, and they also sprayed anti-war messages on walls. Okay. At the start of the conflict, there were 88 hospitals operating around Khartoum. By the 20th of May, 61 had closed and some were bombed. Some resistance committees have opened hospitals and they reopened them, and they demand, and even the ones that were damaged by the airstrikes or the staff fleeing them. They created emergency rooms to help the injured and chronically ill civilians. Also, the committees have coordinated the evacuation of civilians from the frontline areas, repairing electric system to restore power and medical centers, and locating and returning missing people. A sign, when we demonstrate, we say, "We are the people, who are you?" Thank you, guys.